The Wikipedia rants. Can I rant to you for a second, chat? I was actually thinking about making a YouTube video on this because I was so mad. Oh, mad may be the wrong word. Cranky. I even got a small little script thing that I half wrote. And now I'm gonna look like I'm reading it. Fine. It boggles my mind that people think Wikipedia is a bad place for basic info. They say anyone could have wrote it, or it makes mistakes. This is the case with every single fucking website that exists. Wikipedia beats 99% of places to get information for 5 reasons. 1, it has multiple authors. It is funny watching the bickering that the authors of Wikipedia will have on some pages, where they'll go backwards and forwards arguing about who's right and have to substantiate what they're trying to add, or it won't be fucking added at all. Different pages have differing levels of checks and balances, or differing amounts of authors that bicker and fight about what information goes up there. But this is at least better than the average website that is just whatever one guy has ripped from his asshole. It doesn't mean Wikipedia is perfect, but the average website is just whatever some guy wants to write. Wikipedia, the article, is at least potentially added to by like dozens of people over many years. This, on average, is going to be superior to just some guy on some website. Secondly, it's sourced. If you go to the average website, if there are sources at all, it might be for like 1 or 2 things. On Wikipedia, there seems to be like a certain amount of people who get special joy in adding to certain lines, citation needed. Like we're all back in like 2014 and that was the height of witticism. Like, citation needed. Where's your sources? And that's Wikipedia. Because if you're gonna write something there, you've at least gotta source it. It doesn't mean the source is gonna be good. Just like anywhere on the internet, just because something is sourced doesn't mean that it's necessarily sourced well or the person who is referencing it correctly, but at least there is the source. So you can see something in a Wikipedia article and go, that sounds like fucking bullshit. And you can look at the source and go, that is fucking bullshit. You don't get that luxury on most websites. On most websites, if people give sources at all, it's just like a general, yeah, I looked at this sometimes when I was writing this. People will be like, I did my research, I watched a bunch of unsourced YouTube videos and looked at a bunch of Facebook memes. Oh, Wikipedia? Yeah, that's shit though. Thirdly, it traditionally avoids opinion. Have you ever been reading someone's write-up about a topic, or like, I don't know, even just watching someone talk about a topic on YouTube, and they go, well, you know, my Uncle Frank was talking to some guy in a bar one time. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. Get back to the topic. I don't care about your personal anecdotes and how much you really get good feelings about the topic you're speaking on. On Wikipedia, that shit usually just gets removed, or people don't think to add it, because it's Wikipedia. The average website is just full of a bunch of shit, again, that a person's pulled out their ass. Wikipedia doesn't have none of this, but it's less compared to the average website. Fourthly, Wikipedia gets updates. Like, given how fast the world moves, every year, additional developments can happen with basically anything. On a random website, one author who's written an article might never go back to that topic again. They do not give a fuck about that topic. Doesn't matter what additional information comes up. But on Wikipedia, even if one author stops giving a fuck, there can be some guy who's interested in that topic who will come by and go, hey, Wikipedia isn't updated. And fucking go to town. Because it's just people got some free time. There was a meme where like, when someone dies, it's like, let's go watch Wikipedia and how fast they change everything. So it's like, he is living in blank. And then quickly, like a blink of an eye, he was living in blank. Like it all gets updated, so it's all past tense. Again, it doesn't always mean that Wikipedia is going to be updated, but there's a higher chance of being updated than any other source of information, just some random fucking website on the goddamn internet. Lastly, it keeps a record of who makes changes. If something gets changed, and it's bad, you can actually look and see who was doing this. What did it used to say? You don't get that with a random fucking website, right? These 5 things make Wikipedia the best place to go for basic info or when you don't have a lot of time. A cheat code for research, like actual research, is going to the Wikipedia and reading the sources of that Wikipedia page. Because the Wikipedia page, at the end of the day, is just a research paper. It's an essay written by a collection of people with varying levels of credentials and understandings of the topic. And it's a good summation of what exists. It can't possibly replace like a book that was written by a guy with 40 years of experience in that topic that was released last week. Because it's only like a couple of pages at best, right? but it's still the best place to start because it's sourced. You can, like if you are in university right now, you're in high school right now, you want somewhere to start, read the wiki, you'll be more educated about that topic than 95% of the planet, and then just read the sources, and you probably get to 100%. The reason why in school, teachers were like, you can't use Wikipedia as a source is because it's not a primary source. Again, it's just someone's essay. But more importantly, school, both high school and university, is meant to be teaching you to do research. So simply copying someone else's research doesn't teach you the skills of critical thinking and how to pass through irrelevant information to find the stuff that actually matters to answer the question that you're trying to assess. More importantly, by doing research about a topic, you'll tend to get a better understanding of that topic. If you ever want to know if you understand a topic well, try to explain that topic to someone who knows nothing. That process will not only tell you your level of understanding, but will help you remember what you're actually researching. The process of getting information for understanding and remembering, potentially more important than the actual information itself, which is what Wikipedia is, the end result. It's crazy to me how many people will bash on Wikipedia and they will just go to unsourced YouTube videos and be like, see, it looks legit. Or they would just go to some random article written like 10 years ago and be like, look, everything I say is true because look, this random fucking guy who I've never met, who hasn't sourced shit, is also saying it. Here's a literal meme from Facebook, my guy. But oh, you're looking at Wikipedia? Man, you don't know fucking shit. The people who just knee-jerk say, never reference Wikipedia, are people who've never fucking thought for themselves for a second in their entire lives. Ask them, why is Wikipedia bad compared to other places that they get information? And they won't have a good answer for you. They've just heard somewhere, you should never look at Wikipedia, and that's fucking it. Or, as is the case with a lot of people, they've seen something on Wikipedia that they personally disagree with, and they've just written off the entire fucking website. This claim on a Wikipedia page makes me feel bad. Therefore, like, the hundreds of thousands of Wikipedia pages written by hundreds of thousands of people are all fucking shit. Wikipedia is gonna have mistakes on it. It's gonna have inaccuracies, especially because it's generalized. It's basically a summation. It's not gonna have absolute nuanced detail that takes 100 pages to explain. But it is still good as a basic way of getting information. If you were tasked with learning about something, but you can only look in one place on the entire internet, Wikipedia would be the place you pick every single fucking time. Every asshole that's like, I've done my research, I looked at some YouTube videos and read some Facebook memes, I boggles my mind. With all this being said, no singular website will ever be better than reading primary sources. Never. If you have a week to do research, you will outclass Wikipedia. If you're just gonna spend the 8 hours of your day doing research, you're gonna know more than you can likely understand from Wikipedia. But most people aren't willing to spend a week digging down into the minute details into a topic. And if you don't have that week, Wikipedia is your best bet. Most people don't have access to the time and potentially actually have access to the primary sources to do better than Wikipedia. So stop shit-talking Wikipedia. Stop being sheep who heard once 15 years ago that you shouldn't ever look at Wikipedia and they've just never gone back. Just like the entirety of the internet, the quality of any particular Wikipedia article can vary. Just because you've sourced something that isn't Wikipedia doesn't mean you're more likely to be correct. Wikipedia is like an invaluable source. I know you really like your favorite furry avatared YouTube guy who moves his avatar up and down while he just gives his opinion on a topic, but you can expand your horizons just a little bit, to an article written by multiple authors that is sourced, that traditionally avoids opinion, that gets updates, and has a record of who makes any particular changes. That's my rant, okay?